Those who wait for fairness will serve those who know how to take what they want. The world is not governed by justice, but by power. Men are born into a game already in motion, a theater of deception, strategy, and ambition, yet most step onto the stage believing it to be governed by laws of virtue. They are taught to be good, to speak truth, to treat others with respect, to assume that such conduct will be reciprocated. And yet, time and time again, they find themselves passed over, manipulated, outmaneuvered by those who have no such illusions. It is not the honest man who inherits the throne, but the one who knows how to seize it when others hesitate. Power does not wait for permission. It does not ask to be invited in. It takes. Men believe that if they follow the rules, the game will reward them. But the rules are written by those already in power, not for the purpose of fairness, but to ensure control. The law is not a shield for the innocent. It is a tool of the ruler. Those who understand this begin to play differently. They no longer expect mercy. They no longer wait to be chosen. They learn to act, to anticipate betrayal, to strike before they are struck. In this world, those who hesitate become servants to those who do not. The man who thinks too long about doing harm will always be harmed first. Power flows to those who move, who act without seeking moral approval, who are not restrained by ideals that others themselves do not follow. People preach virtue with their mouths while moving with calculated selfishness. The only thing worse than a liar is a man who thinks everyone else is honest. Power respects strength, not innocence. Those who possess it will never yield it out of pity. The powerful are not sentimental. They reward usefulness, not goodness. If you are not useful, if you are not feared, you are forgotten. And if you believe that the world is just, you have already lost. There are men who understand this from an early age. They are not burdened by the need to be loved. They do not cry for fairness. They learn to manipulate, to appear humble while engineering dominance. They learn that appearing weak can be a tactic. They know that speaking of justice while pursuing advantage is the oldest game in politics. And they play it with precision. The weak will always be ruled, not because they lack virtue, but because they lack strategy. They confuse compliance with righteousness. They believe obedience is nobility. And so they kneel, hoping that their submission will be rewarded. But power does not reward those who kneel. It forgets them. Morality is a mask worn by the cunning. It is not the essence of a man, but a tool in his hand, a costume that conceals his ambition while pacifying those too blind to question the performance. Most people speak of virtue as if it is sacred, as if they are guided by truth, integrity, and honor. But when their desires are threatened, when their interests are at stake, they reveal their true allegiance, not to morality, but to advantage. The truth is that men are moved not by ideals, but by fear, by gain, and by desire. Their words profess ethics, but their actions betray strategy. In politics, in business, in relationships, the most successful individuals are not the most moral, but the most perceptive. They understand that virtue is currency, and like any currency, it can be manipulated, counterfeited, or weaponized. They learn early that the appearance of goodness is often more valuable than goodness itself. The world does not reward the pure, it rewards the clever. To be seen as just is enough, whether or not you are. Reputation, not righteousness, opens doors. And so the intelligent man wears morality as armor, as bait, as disguise. People crave comfort more than truth. They would rather follow someone who appears righteous than someone who actually is. This makes the mask not only effective but necessary. To speak plainly, to reveal ambition, to act with cold clarity, is to provoke resistance. But to hide one's intentions behind the veil of virtue, to wrap the dagger in silk, is to disarm suspicion. The wolf that wears the shepherd's cloak walks freely among the flock, not because he is pure, but because he is believed to be. The truly strategic mind understands this. Morality is not an absolute, but a tool of perception. What is considered good, shifts with the interests of the masses and the agenda of those who shape opinion. The powerful do not waste time trying to be virtuous in private. They spend their energy appearing virtuous in public. They craft narratives, engineer sympathy, and maintain the illusion that their actions are guided by principle, even when every step is calculated for dominance. Men love the idea of morality because it absolves them from thinking critically. They cling to simple labels, good and bad, right and wrong, as if the world is a children's story. But in reality, every saint has a shadow and every villain has a motive. Those who succeed understand this duality. They don't seek purity, they seek balance. They know how to speak the language of virtue when necessary, but never let it tie their hands. They understand that a reputation for kindness is a weapon, not a mirror. The masses are easily seduced by appearances. They will rally behind a lie if it makes them feel righteous. They will condemn truth if it threatens their comfort. And so those who wish to move among them undetected must speak their language, must adopt their values on the surface, while pursuing their own interest beneath. Playing clean in a dirty game is suicide. The world is not a level field of honor and fairness. It is a battlefield ruled by hidden motives, shifting alliances, and the quiet cruelty of ambition. Those who cling to the illusion that virtue alone can protect them are the first to be exploited, the first to be sacrificed, the first to be forgotten. The game is not played by rules, it is played by players. And the most dangerous players are those who pretend there are rules while bending them to their will. The man who insists on absolute honesty will be surrounded by liars. The man who refuses to deceive will be deceived. The one who waits for justice will be passed by those who create outcomes, not hope for them. In every environment where stakes are high, whether in politics, business, or personal power, clean play is an invitation for predators. It is the mark of someone who does not understand the terrain, someone who exposes his neck in a world of wolves. People are not punished for being moral, they are punished for being naive. Clean hands may ease the conscience, but they do not grip power. Those who ascend in corrupt systems do so not by denying the dirt, but by mastering how to walk through it without being stained. They know that to remain pure in a system built on manipulation is not a sign of strength. It is a sign of irrelevance. The clean player becomes a footnote in the story written by those who are willing to do what he wasn't. To survive, one must learn the game not as it should be, but as it is. That means understanding how betrayal works. It means studying how power disguises itself. It means knowing when to bend, when to break, and when to appear as if you are doing neither. The man who adapts is not immoral. He is intelligent. He is not cruel. He is prepared. He does not take pleasure in playing dirty, but he does not flinch when it is required. Every empire, every dynasty, every legend was built on decisions that would be condemned by those who have never held responsibility. The idealist speaks of fairness from the sidelines. The realist plays to win because he knows that power, once taken, justifies the method. What matters in the end is not how pure the process appeared, but whether or not the throne was taken, the enemy neutralized, the influence secured. Those who play clean will always underestimate the lengths others will go to win. They will walk into traps designed by people who studied their virtues. They will be manipulated by appeals to their own values, unable to see that those values are being used against them. The moment you show the world your code, the world begins crafting its attack. And if you have no defense but decency, you will be overrun. Your reputation is a weapon, not a mirror. It is not a reflection of who you are, but a tool that can be shaped, sharpened, and wielded. The masses believe reputation is something that must be earned through honest action and consistent virtue, but the powerful understand that reputation is something that must be crafted, even engineered. What others believe about you matters more than what is true. Perception commands loyalty, perception invites fear, and perception decides whether you are followed, respected, or destroyed. To treat your reputation as a mirror is to trap yourself. It means living in fear of contradiction, seeking always to align your public image with your private values. But in a world that is neither fair nor honest, this makes you rigid, vulnerable, and unable to adapt. The man who confuses his image with his identity is easily broken. His actions are restrained by how others might judge him. He becomes predictable, hesitant, slow. In contrast, the strategist treats his image as a mask. He knows how to control what is seen while concealing what is real. Appearances are not trivial, they are currency. A man may be ruthless in private, but if he carries the air of mercy in public, he becomes untouchable. People will defend him, excuse him, even when the evidence points to the contrary. Why? Because they believe in the image, and once belief is established, facts are irrelevant. This is why the wise man shapes his reputation with the same care a warrior sharpens his blade. He understands that to appear honest is more important than to be honest. That to appear just is more valuable than to be just. A strong reputation gives you room to maneuver. When people believe you are fair, you can be harsh without resistance. When they think you are merciful, your punishments seem justified. When they see you as humble, your ambition appears noble. Your image becomes a shield you hide behind, a disguise that buys you time, space, and control. It is not manipulation, it is strategy. In a world where people rarely look deeper than the surface is everything. The clever man never lets his reputation become static. He adapts it to the audience, the environment, the moment. He plays the saint when it suits him and the villain when necessary, but always returns to the role the crowd applauds. He knows how to cry at funerals without grief, and how to praise rivals without sincerity. Not because he lacks emotion, but because he understands the battlefield. In the arena of power, truth is too heavy to carry unguarded. It must be hidden, protected, clothed in layers of deception and performance. The man who believes reputation must reflect inner purity becomes a slave to opinion. He becomes desperate to be understood, to be validated, to be seen as good. But the man who treats his reputation as a weapon uses it to intimidate, to seduce, to dominate. Victory forgives everything. Success rewrites the story, reshapes the past, and redefines morality. What is condemned in failure is celebrated in triumph. The masses do not remember the means, they remember the outcome. They do not mourn the ethics lost along the path if the destination is glorious enough. Once a man wins, the details of how he did so fade beneath the brilliance of his crown. History does not weep for the rules broken by victors. It immortalizes them. The world has always worshipped power. It respects results, not excuses. A failed man may have been honest, kind, or noble, but his virtues become irrelevant the moment he is forgotten. The man who prevails, regardless of how he fought, becomes a legend. His sins are rationalized as necessary, his betrayals reframed as strategy, his cruelty explained as strength. The very people who would have condemned him in defeat will now exalt him as a genius. This is not hypocrisy, it is human nature. People are drawn to dominance. They crave the illusion of righteousness, but they follow the scent of victory. The victors dictate the narrative, sculpt the morality of their era, and decide which deeds are remembered as evil and which are painted as justified. What was once treachery becomes foresight. What was once manipulation becomes diplomacy. The line between good and evil is drawn by the hand that holds the scepter. To hesitate because of fear of judgment is to misunderstand how the world works. The actions of today may be questioned, but if they lead to triumph, they will be justified by tomorrow. Those who win are forgiven not because they deserve it, but because they are needed. The weak judge the powerful when they can afford to, but they always bend the knee when strength becomes undeniable. That is why a man focused on results does not explain, does not apologize, does not seek approval. He moves forward, confident that the weight of his success will crush all criticism beneath it. in war, in politics, in life. What matters is who holds the throne when the dust settles. The defeated may speak of their principles, their honor, their refusal to stoop to dirty tactics, but no one listens to ghosts. Their stories become warnings, not examples. Their integrity is admired, perhaps, but never imitated. Meanwhile, the victor builds the future, surrounded by those who once doubted him but now depend on his power. This is why the most effective leaders, the most enduring rulers, are those who accept that the path to victory may require darkness. They do not flinch at accusations. They do not pause for approval. They act with the understanding that the end does not merely justify the means. It erases them. Once the goal is seized, once the position is secured, once the enemy is broken, all sins are washed away by the flood of success. The world loves a winner, even when he conquers with blood on his hands, so understand this. In a world ruled not by justice, but by power, survival demands more than virtue. It demands vision. It is not enough to be good. You must be cunning. It is not enough to play fair. You must play to win. Those who rise are not the purest, but the most strategic. Those who learn to walk through shadows with clean hands and speak of honor while seizing advantage. Your reputation is your weapon, your morality is your mask, and your victory is the only truth that matters. Because once you win, the world forgets how you did it. They only remember that you did.